Steve Dangle Podcast. Powered by Sports Interaction. Wanna bet?
Steve the Steve Dangle Podcast with your hosts Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
I just want to read this headline to you guys, and I want to get your reaction. How a young Winnipeg woman is making a name for herself in sports broadcasting. This is from CBC.ca. Our very own Game Over Winnipeg's Alyssa Howard went on CBC and had a big interview.
Let's go.
The Canadian Broadcasting Company?
That's right. It's on a show called Up to Speed with Faith Fundell. And so congratulations, Alyssa. I tweeted out the link.
I have not seen
I know
this.
it just literally came out before the show. I was going to start the show with something completely different.
Is it
which
like
you'll find
a
out in
video
second.
interview?
It's an audio interview. Yeah, and
Audio
it's on my
podcast?
Twitter, and I know Robert's already posted it to our account because
It's on at SDPN Sports.
yeah, of course, because Robert's like lightning.
I'm genuinely thrilled.
Yeah,
That's wonderful.
Isn't that cool? And
Hooray.
so she reached out yesterday. She's like, "Do you think I can do this?" And we're like, "Yeah, go."
Yeah.
Of course. That's awesome. So shout out to everybody doing Game Over. They're doing such a spectacular job. They're working hard, and it's nice to see some recognition come in for everybody. So good for them. Good for them.
Oh, hooray.
That feel good?
Yes.
That's
They'll
cool.
feel good Friday.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Now to talk about a Leafs loss. Now, Jesse, did you have something else that you wanted to say, or
what's wrong?
What's wrong, Jesse? What's wrong?
I just
What's
wanted-
wrong, Steve?
I just
Steve.
wanted louder headphones. I tried to do it subtly.
Oh,
and
you
as
wanted
usual,
louder.
you guys draw
just
attention
grab
to it.
my headphone.
There you go.
Hey, Steve's got a tattoo.
No, that's me.
That's me. That's very much me. And I almost took my own ears out with
Good.
that laugh.
You deserve it.
Is this
There
you?
you go. Yeah, that's me.
Okay,
Thank
okay.
There you go.
So I was gonna start the show with I think his new name should be Bobby McStolen. Because listen, Detroit deserved to win that game. They won the game.
They did deserve to win the game.
And I have no issues with that. The Leafs are going to drop some where you go, fuck. You know, that's going to happen unless you're Boston, which you never drop any games except for last night as well. We'll talk about that. But the refs, in that, the game should have been 3-2. The refs got the call right by the rule book, but the rule book is wrong book, in my opinion.
They got the call right in the New Jersey game, and they got the call right in this game.
Are you sure?
Yes.
In the New Jersey game?
Yeah, well, so Devils fans were immediate in my mentions, and I didn't even have the heart to be like, you don't even go here.
Well, no, we everybody is welcome here, but it's one of those where like we defended that.
We
said-
isn't the correct word. Adam and Jesse defended it. Steve laughed. I went back and I watched our episode from the day after the Devils game, and Steve took great joy in things going the Leafs' way.
Yeah,
And
they're
so-
my team. Of course I did.
Steve offered no condolences to Devils fans, but Adam and I.
No.
So it's the exact same conversation. It's so funny how it's just the exact same play and everything is with the Leafs again. And we were like, okay, the rule's kind of ridiculous that if you're not kicking it intentionally to put it in the net, it's not a goal. But we came to the conclusion in our conversation, because we had like a 10-minute conversation on it, that if the plugs are in the front of the net and they're all trying to hammer the puck home, it'd be dangerous if you're allowed to kick it indirectly
1000%.
and that it goes in that. We all agreed that like we can't have that as a rule. So like hands up.
The
for
one
Leafs
thing I
fans.
would
What can you
say
do?
that was different about this is he's trying, like, context does matter with other rules.
Yeah.
And he's trying to kick it up to his stick, but it goes off a Detroit player, which to me then changes the play.
Not just off a Detroit player, because what happened in the Devils game is Haula kicks it into the crease, and Nick Robertson, who is standing still, it goes off of his skate. Bobby McMann kicks this puck in the opposite direction of the net to his stick, and the reason he wasn't able to pull it to his stick is Oli Mata flew in and knocked it in. He directed it in himself.
Right,
If
but
he wasn't there, that would have never happened.
Hollow wasn't kicking it at the net either. Like his pass was cross crease.
It was cross
So
crease.
it's the exact same argument.
It is the exact same argument. I think the difference is just stationary player versus a guy going da-da-da-da and flying in and knocking it in.
Yeah.
And
that is the rule. They have to call that. I
Right.
totally get
I think
it.
it's a dumb rule, but I understand
I think
the
clarification
safety.
on the rule would
Yeah.
make sense.
The other flaw with the rule is we all agree that kicking in scrums is dangerous.
Terribly dangerous.
Terribly dangerous.
That wasn't a
And-
scrum, though, at first.
Well, kicking in close proximity is dangerous. However, it's not illegal in any other scenario. You're allowed to kick the puck. You can boot the thing like Messi
Anywhere.
up and down the ice,
Yeah.
anywhere, anytime.
People do it.
for any reason.
If you're on a breakaway and you lose your stick, you can just kick the puck up the ice on the breakaway.
Try to pass it to
like
someone
you're
else.
Messi.
Yeah.
You can leave your stick on the bench.
Yeah. Except
If the whole game you could just leave your stick on the bench and boot it.
if you try to score a goal.
Except
Yeah.
if you try and
Then-
score a goal.
No, can't do that.
Well, so what I said was, in theory, if you kick the puck from behind your own net, it goes the entire way down the ice, and the goalie just dives and he misses it because he temporarily lost his mind for some reason, and the puck goes in. It's kicked into the net and it's no goal. But we all, as human beings, agree that it's the stupid goalie's fault.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's why last night and in the Eric Holla goal, you look at it, and Adam, you said the important word there, context.
Yes.
I would love if there was just some sort of context in the rule where we can all say, hey, that dude was just trying to pass the puck to his stick and it went in the net. That should be a goal. I look at that and I say with my eyes, that should be a goal.
The contextual example that I used was goalie interference. So if an attacking player barrels into the goalie's not allowed to do his job, you're an idiot. No goal. Goal is disallowed. However, if your defenseman is a muppet and knocks an attacking player into his own goalie, the refs go back, they watch it, and they go, sorry, stupid, don't be stupid next time.
Yes.
That's a goal.
There's context in that rule.
Yeah, so wouldn't it be great to have the context of, hey, you skated directly into the puck and knocked it into your own net, that's a goal. Because Bobby McMann, if he kicked it and it touched nothing and it just kept going, they don't stop the play and go, hey, you dangerous ruffian, you're not allowed to kick that puck. We need to protect everybody. No, the play just continues.
Yes.
So we all acknowledge the dangers, but we simultaneously do next to nothing about it by just allowing it.
And that's the problem.
Even if it went off a stick and then in, if he kicked it and then it unintentionally hit a stick and goes in the net, that's not any better if your goal is to prevent kicking, because that's the same accidental off a body and into the net. So what's the difference if it bounced off a skate accidentally and into the net versus a stick accidentally into the net? The rule just needs some more clarification to make it make sense when you watch it with your eyes.
And again, I think it bounced off of Nick Robertson's stationary skate. I don't think it bounced off of Olli Määttä. Olli Määttä kicked this puck in to his own net.
Yeah.
It's his fault. Ultimately, what is the reason the puck went in? Olli Määttä. He's the reason it went in.
Sure.
It's his fault.
If you want to start from there, you can go back to who passed the puck originally.
Yeah.
We can start from the beginning of time.
Who invented hockey?
The ref dropped the puck in the face-off, and then somebody won the face-off, and then it was passed. So, depends on where you want to start where the puck was moving.
What, should this goal have counted? I think I want to start with, is time linear?
Exactly. There's so much confusion in hockey.
It
makes me upset.
It's frustrating. It's one of those ones where I don't get too upset about that, because that's the rule, man. I was upset at first, and it's bummer. It's a bummer for Bobby McMann, because if he's not dealing with what Emily Kaplan and Luke Fox are calling if Matthews isn't dealing with, first off, he's sick, and second, he's got some injuries that are sort of quote unquote nagging, which hockey player doesn't.
He's been playing the whole season injured, which we all suspected, and he's still on a 40-goal pace. What a bum.
Yeah. Bobby McMahon's not even in the lineup if Matthews isn't, dealing with the flu or whatever he's dealing with.
Sure.
He should be.
And so I'm thinking that it's a little bit frustrating because, this guy, you take that moment from him. That sucks. That
and
part
on the
sucks.
dad's trip.
And his dad is there.
The dad's trip.
I like when the dads get sauced up by the third period.
Oh.
There's yelling and talking.
So I heard the Bobby McMann goal thing in the car because I was driving home, and so I got to hear the radio broadcast, and Joe Bowen was just out there naming names.
Oh, yeah.
And he was just like, I missed the father's trip because of Doug Orr. Talking about Colton Orr's dad, I'm pretty sure. Just naming names, I guess, who was the best
Wow.
to go out with on the father's trip.
Why am I not surprised with Colton Orr?
I don't know.
Just seems like a good time. You know?
I'm definitely not surprised with Joe Bowen. I've met him several times. Happened to bump into him when he was celebrating his Green Bay Packers winning the Super Bowl a
if
few years ago.
Notre Dame or Green Bay win, Joe Bowen's gonna have a good
Forget
time.
it.
He
Right
loves
on.
them both.
Yeah, loves it.
Funny talking to him though. You know, being a long time play-by-play guy for the Leafs on TV and on radio, he doesn't. When you talk to him about the stories and stuff, he's like, I don't really remember the specific game. And I guess when you've been doing it for 35 years, like it's got to blend together at some. You must remember eras, decades. That's where
Yeah.
you start to. I remember this moment, this one moment. Do you remember Matthews to Marner to that? No, I don't remember that. Of course not.
I sometimes wonder when I'm going to forget that Dominic Moore had a breakaway with no stick.
You're not going to. You're different.
Yeah? All right.
Yeah, because that's the one thing that you can remember is that there are Leaf things and you'll remember them all.
The difference between my short and long-term memory is staggering. I cannot stop calling Dryden Hunt Brad Hunt in my LFR videos.
Why?
I don't know.
Who's Brad Hunt?
He's an NHL player who I could not pick out of a lineup. I just know he's an NHL player with the last name Hunt. That's the only thing I know about him. I think he played for the Oilers. Hey, there
Brad
you go.
Hunt.
He played for the Oilers.
Yeah. No, he's currently on the Colorado Avalanche.
Really?
There were 2 Brads on the Avalanche this season. Well, we found it.
Wow.
No, he
So
played
my brain
16
automatically goes to Avalanche, Hunt, alphabetical order, Brad.
Brad Hunt, a 34-year-old defenseman, played 16 games for the Avalanche so far this year.
Can you put his hockey DB photo on the screen?
Wow, you like no teeth, Brad Hunt?
Oh, heavens.
Adam, you want to take a look?
Oh, that is
That's a good
hockey
picture.
fotch.
Good.
Look at that face.
That's a hockey player right there. Where's he from? Maple Ridge, BC.
I believe
Good
you.
West Coast boy.
Yeah, I like that.
That dude, here, wait, can you scroll up to his birthday? August 24th. That dude is younger than Adam and I.
You got a problem?
He's got a good mug, man. That's
That's-
a great
Yeah, but
picture.
it's just.
You got a
it's
problem
just-
with his face?
No, it's just the
Steve,
teeth.
why are you hating on his face?
The teeth age him. But also look at that youthful smile. He's so happy.
What?
He's got a jawline like Mr. Incredible. I'm very jealous of this man. Look at that. Good for him. Undrafted too. Like Dryden Hunt. So you can see how I would make the mistake.
You owe me an apology, first of all.
No, I don't, but continue.
Say
Why do
it.
I owe you?
Say it.
What?
Huso.
Man, he was sick. He was sick.
Nope, got helped by the refs.
He was sick, man. He
No,
was
screw
sick
you.
last night.
Nope.
That was a
Couldn't
Huso.
even stop his own teammates.
Shut up.
There were 6 goals last night, and Detroit scored 5 of them.
Tampa's got to,
They won
or
4-1.
Tampa. St. Louis has got to be mad. Like, I'd be internet mad about losing Ville Husso like that. I'd rage. I'd start a burner and start raging.
He makes less money than Binnington.
Yeah.
Like, significantly
Like,
less.
and here's the thing with a goalie like that, I can understand why it's like, oh, you had one good year and you want me to commit that much money. And like, look at what happened to Nedeljkovic. We were like, Carolina's crazy. And then we're like, wow, they're not. But Husso has been unbelievable in Detroit for a pretty mediocre team. I know they're on their upswing, but they haven't been great.
Yeah, Charlie Lindgren's been fine for the Blues, so I don't know.
I mean, they're a couple points out of the wild card now, so who's to say? But it
Husos to say, you see.
You see.
The Blues looked at it as we can't afford paying 2 goalies that much, right?
Right.
'Cause Binnington makes 6.
But when you have that problem, keep the better one. Find a way. Don't lose the good one.
I think they would argue that Binnington is the better one at the time for what they're trying to do.
Which is lose?
But
Well,
Which is barely be in the playoff picture? Come on.
I think
He's been... Let me look at Jordan
was-
Binnington's stats this year.
I think he had decent value after the playoffs
Mhm.
because he was good, but he was coming off an injury. But this past offseason, good players were going for next to nothing, or you had to pay to get rid of them. Oliver Bjorkstrand went to Seattle for next to nothing.
Okay.
Just because of his salary.
Right.
Okay, I've got a but actually on this one.
Give
Okay,
me a but.
and the but actually is the Leafs were able to offload the worst goaltending contract in the NHL to the Chicago Blackhawks for
13 spots in the draft, and they got the Sens to pay to get rid of Matt Murray.
So don't tell me that the Blackhawks couldn't have been a viable option.
Let me defend Doug Armstrong with how the season played out last year, because I keep tabs on these two individuals because I hate one and I love one. So Binnington, he has a great end of back half, middle of last year, but we get to the playoffs and he loses the job to Binnington. Binnington becomes the full-time starter, and then Binnington gets injured and Husso goes back in, and Husso's not playing as well. So you have your proof of concept there in the games that matter most. And if I'm the GM, I say one guy showed up, one guy was our starter during the playoffs. I'm going to go with that one that also won us the Stanley Cup.
There you go.
You know,
yeah, he'll have the Stanley Cup forever, right? You'll always have this guy won.
Right. And the difference between our Stanley Cup winning goalie and the one that kind of failed us when we got down the stretch is like $1.5 million, because Husso's at 4.25 and Binnington is at 6. So am I going to make that decision just to save 1.5 mil? No, I'm probably going to just side with Binnington so he doesn't try and punch me in the face.
That's fair. I wouldn't try to do that to Doug Armstrong. I wouldn't.
Binnington might.
He looks like he has a hard head.
Doug Armstrong?
Yeah.
Nice man, though.
Yes.
Nice man.
He was cool on Agent Provocateur, but I've seen him in press conferences since, and he doesn't say much.
He's got a hand chatterer.
Does he?
Yeah.
Are you shaking his hand?
No. A hand chatterer of a head.
Oh,
I think.
If you hit and then yeah, I can see that.
He probably has this firm hand grip though. But you know what? He doesn't do the vice grip thing because he doesn't feel the need to prove himself because he doesn't need to. My dad always goes back to he met Ty Domi at the Eaton Center and he crushed his hand. Because he's Ty Domi and probably feels an obligation to crush your hand.
Did you bet on Husso last night?
No.
You didn't bet on Husso.
What do you mean?
You didn't go on I'm shocked.
What do you mean? I didn't take Detroit to win the game or anything, so no.
Okay.
Oh, you stink. You stink.
Doesn't stand behind his guys.
You're a liar.
You
Sports
guys
Interaction
are upset with me.
And you're not on there Husso's my guy.
You should have bet on the Leafs and lost your $2.
You guys are upset with me that pregame I wasn't like, oh yeah, Leafs are going to lose this one because Husso's in net. No.
There's a lot of Husso talk and not a lot of Husso backing it up.
You stink.
Okay? All right? By the way, you can download the Sports Interaction app. It's on the QR code.
I did not take
I'm surprised. Did you do anything last night?
Yeah, won some, lost some. Lost on the Leafs, obviously.
So you bet on the Leafs? Because you always bet on the Leafs. What would you take?
Them to win.
Okay.
Well, I would never bet Leafs pregame to lose a game. I would never go into a game and be like, Leafs are going to lose a game. I would never do that.
No.
See,
that's bad juju.
Is it?
Yeah. A lot of people advocate for doing that in winner take all playoff games because either you win a bunch of money or your team wins. I know. I think it's JD when he would always say that around the Sportsnet offices.
Oh, he has
Bunkus?
no ethic.
Yeah, JD Bunkus on the Sportsnet 590 The Fan. He's a big advocate for, hey, it's either him or Justin Bourne, I forget. Or do you bet against...
That sounds like a Bunkus take. Bunkus.
You bet against your team so that you win either way. You either win money or your team wins.
That's you know what? I don't hate that.
I don't like it.
How about I win twice when they win twice?
Right. I don't like it. That's bad juju, right?
Well, okay, but you guys say it's bad juju, but if you've watched this show for any amount of time, you know that every year we do a bracket challenge. Every flipping year we do a bracket challenge. And what happens every year? Good old Adam over here goes, I will not bet against the Toronto Maple Leafs, and they let me down each and every time. But these two guys, who are supposedly fans, what do you guys do every year?
Jinx the team that should have won. I bet on the Leafs and they lose.
Yeah, you don't bet on the Leafs.
I did once and
you
they
did
lost.
last year.
Yeah.
Because the vision.
Yeah. Last year was the year of the vision.
I had the vision, but Drew...
Are we doing part 2 Vision Strikes Back this year? Or?
We'll see.
Okay, all right.
The vision hasn't come to me yet.
All right.
But producer Drew, for the season preview videos on Sportsnet's channel, just kept going, stop frigging betting on the Avs. Stop saying that the Avs are going to win, and I bet on them to win 2 consecutive years, and then the first year I didn't, they won.
Just a walking, talking jinx.
Just unreal. By the way, if Carolina Hurricanes fans are wondering why they can't get past the second round, I had Avs Hurricanes back-to-back years.
I want to say that, by the way, I know it's early, but I think we can start talking about this because the Leafs already know who they're playing in the first round. We will have a bracket challenge this year, and it looks like we're going to have some serious prizing too.
Oh.
So it's going to be a little bit more than bragging rights this year. This year is going to be special. We'll have more details as they come out. And for anybody else that's looking there have been a lot of requests about Kingston. Our contact in Kingston who runs the bar hasn't had the chance to set up the ticketing yet because he's been on vacation. Oh. And who can blame him? So we will have that early next week for you. And what we're going to do is we're not going to release it until we release a show and tell you when the details are. And we'll give you 24 hours to listen to Monday's show so you can catch it. And then we're going to put it up. Mm-hmm. Okay? So like the show usually comes out on Monday between 8 and 9 o'clock. It'll be like Tuesday.
Right.
So you've had
like
24
Wednesday
hours.
morning.
Or Wednesday morning or something. So you've got an opportunity to know when that's going to be. We'll tweet it a bunch so that way people know.
Can we crash their site?
I hope so. I'd like to.
I wouldn't.
Like a Taylor Swift ticket drop. Let's sue Ticketmaster.
Yeah. So are the
F you, Eventbrite.
Yeah, resell the tickets.
Take your free tickets and stuff them.
Hey, ticket scene.
$250.
The reason I brought up the playoff bracket thing was because I've been thinking about the playoffs. And, a lot of the conversation yesterday, if you were kind of bopping around the channels and stuff, was that Auston Matthews was taking the day off. And there was like an aspect of it is this load management.
Austin Leonard.
Well, Kawhi Leonard, when he did it in Toronto, he came in injured and we knew that. He had a quad injury that held him out an entire year that San Antonio didn't take seriously. And he didn't want to shorten his career. And that fractured the relationship. So when he came to Toronto, he said, listen, these are the terms.
He was injured in the playoffs too. Yeah. He almost missed Game 3 against Milwaukee. Everyone forgets that.
And he played every game in the playoffs like madman. But he played like 60 regular season games, something like that, 62 maybe.
Yeah, if that. Yeah.
And I think the Raptors that year that they won the championship, they only got 9 or 10 regular season games with all their starters healthy, which is amazing when you think about it, right?
Yeah.
And so obviously that worked, and obviously MLSE saw the light when that happened. And I think now they're looking at doing that with their star players. So when we talk, obviously they're never going to call it load management again. But with Auston Matthews staying out and, presumably he's sick, but not pushing it at game 42. Yeah. Kind of makes...
There was no need.
It's kind of weird that it's taken us 100 years to get here, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we still can't admit it.
That's what happened.
And we still can't talk about it. Why not?
In the NBA, we could just say that guy's getting a rest day. It's the second night of back-to-back. He's 30. He probably needs a day off.
We can rest a goalie, though.
Yeah, goalies need rest. But the players, we have to be like, no, he had a lingering injury, and that's why he's out. We still have to pretend.
Call it pride or call it ego. Call it whatever you
want.
It is a little bit of both. But, it's just smart. Mm-hmm. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And, I know the whole thing, fans pay their money and everything. I get that. But at the end of the day, they're trying to run a business and winning is their business. And it's game 43. This is not Auston Matthews sitting because he's fresh as a daisy. He's very visibly played banged up all season. I don't think he missed a shift after getting cross-checked by Jamie Benn. And I don't think he's been right ever since he got cross-checked by Jamie Benn. And that was game 3 of the season? Something like that? And he's dealt with wrist stuff and back stuff, and he's still arguably their best player.
Monster.
So he's a monster. He's certainly their best two-way player. He's adapted his game to... Something's up. They won one of the two. I don't have a problem with him resting every now and then.
There's no reason to push it.
He won't be the only one either. I don't think.
Well, wouldn't you, if you're listen, I understand wanting to play a full 82 just for your own ego, but one of the problems the Leafs ran into, and this is again with a goalie, so a little bit different, but was with Freddie Anderson, because Babs would go up and he'd be like, Freddie, you ready to go? And Freddie is going to say yes every time.
I was so disappointed when he got hurt last year with Carolina.
Oh, he had a great year, but again, played too much.
He was on pace to play almost the exact same amount of too many games that he played with the Leafs in the previous few seasons, and he went down. Now, that's not necessarily why he got hurt. You get hurt for a variety of different reasons, but I was so disappointed to see that nothing changed.
Right.
In two different ways.
And the thing is that, like, if you ask the player, of course they're going to say they're ready to go. Who's going to turn down a game in the NHL? It's sick.
Yeah.
Like, amazing. Imagine waking up and that's your, well, do I play or not? I'm freaking playing. But the problem was when he came to the playoffs, he was very, very inconsistent. Some great games, some horrendous games where he cost them the game because
no mediocre
he was
games.
gassed.
No mediocre games at all.
No, yeah, there was no just like a 906 save percentage. It was 940 or 840, and that was it.
Yeah, Game 3, 2018, where he absolutely stole a game. And we also saw Game 2 in 2018, where he got pulled before the halfway mark.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
It's so, that's one that's a Leafs example. And, obviously in Carolina, he's been a little bit injured this year. So he's only played 9 games.
He's been very injured.
9 games?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
but
not
you
been
wouldn't
good
know
either.
it because Ranta, who's also been hurt at times, has been good. And
It's literally the opposite. He was hurt all year last year.
Yeah, Pyotr Kochetkov is unreal.
Yeah.
Unreal. They have, I would say, 2 NHL caliber starting goalies and a 1A.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he's been out most games since mid-November.
Yeah, it's funny. They just activated him off of IR yesterday.
Yeah, lower body.
Yeah, if you need a goalie, call Carolina, see what they give you.
So okay. So let me ask you this: you're a Leafs fan. You pay to see you pay to see the game. Are you upset before I even ask that question, who are the guys you load manage? You're Sheldon Keefe. I want to give you 2 or 3 games off between now and the playoffs. And I probably want to do it in bunches because if I only give you one night off, that's like 3 days off in a row. What's that really going to do? But if I give you a week off, which is probably 3 games, 3 to 4, depending, that might actually really help you.
Mm-hmm.
Who are you giving the load management to?
Well, he's the oldest skater in the league, so Mark Giordano.
Who's been amazing this year.
Who's been amazing, and he's not going to accept that, so you deactivate his fob for the day. You
just slash his tires.
Yeah, it's just.
Oh, sorry, Mark.
Yeah,
he'd still find a way.
He'd find a way, and then you don't write his name on the lineup card, and you let him be upset. Sorry about that. I'd have a gander at Mitch Marner. I'm pretty sure plays the most on the team out of the forwards. He plays in all situations, and he doesn't look tired, but I bet you he is.
Mm-hmm.
So every once in a while. All of them, man. All of them when they need
like who's the priority? We got to talk priorities here. Who's going to game break? I mean, Willie's got to be up there, although I don't know if Willie plays the type of game that the guy never gets hurt. It's amazing.
Nah, don't give Willie a day off. You might lose him.
Yeah. He might have way too much fun and eat prosciutto. No,
JT,
keep him in the lineup.
JT makes sense.
He's playing his best hockey, and I think when that stops, you give him a day.
What about Morgan Riley, who it just came back?
I think might have come back too quick. Yeah,
you're still not there on him, eh?
Okay. So I called him out a little bit yesterday. Like when Matthews is out of the lineup, immediately our attention turns to Tavares needs to have a big game. I was about to say he scored. No, he didn't. But he's been very good. Willie and Marner. All 3 of those guys need to pick up the slack. And then you'll need someone else to step up, like a Holmberg who played a lot and he drew 2 penalties in the third.
Crashed into the boards at 60 million miles an hour.
Yeah,
and is okay.
Clearly dove, according to Jake Wallman. That was so mystifying. But Riley has to be better. And he was poor. He was poor in that game. There were 2 plays in particular that made me yell at the television, and that was
only 2.
Only 2. But it was the giveaway on the first goal.
Mm-hmm.
And remember the amazing defensive play he made in the third yesterday? He had to scamper back to break up a play, and I caught myself. You can watch my brain whir in the moment where I go, Riley with a great back check, and I'm like, he's a defenseman. That's the gig.
Yeah.
It's a back check to me if you're a forward.
Yeah.
It's a mistake that you're covering up for if you're a defenseman. And the reason he had to do that was because he took a 0% success rate shot into a bunch of shins. And Detroit turns it up the other way. That is offense, which is his bread and butter. That's a poor decision on offense, which is his bread and butter, that affects the defense. And it takes you out of the offensive zone, makes you scamper back to the defensive zone, and you're at, right back to the drawing board trying to solve Detroit when you need a goal. He was poor.
The first goal where it's directly a turnover on Morgan Riley's stick out of here, and it leads to a goal. For a game that's a 1-goal game for the majority of the game, stuff like that is backbreaking. Like, that's the reason you lose the game.
Well, and he's again, we don't have the extended replay, but I see him at the center ice line on the right side of the ice, and I'm like, what is the left defenseman doing there? Did him and Jordy Ben switch and I didn't know? Maybe I didn't notice. I don't know. Also, I don't have a problem with Sheldon Keefe experimenting, especially on the second half of back-to-back, especially with a player who's had an extensive injury history. That's it with scratching Connor Timmins when you don't have to.
That's enough. That's enough.
That's enough. And another thing, that's enough putting Wayne Simmons in the lineup when you don't have to. I'm sorry. That's enough. Dryden Hunt's been good.
Wayne taking that penalty last night too. I was like, you root for Wayne Simmons,
and he was mad about it.
But you can't.
As it happened before the ref's arm even went up, I'm like, Wayne.
He knew.
Every game he's in, there's a penalty, and it's a careless penalty.
You can't.
And that's the thing. It's sort of like, this is a guy that a person that you love, that you want in that dressing room, and that you want to be a part of the organization once the career's done.
Yeah.
But you can see very clearly that this is a 1 in 10 games guy.
He's
play him.
Hanging on.
Yes.
To an NHL.
Love him.
Love him,
as a
and
person.
we'll always love him.
Yeah.
It's not like he's a bad player. You have better options. And when the Leafs play the Jets next week, nope. You don't put him in that lineup. I know he was there last time. You don't need a babysitter. This team's actually, if you pay attention, starting to play a little tougher.
And I like Jordy Ben in the lineup. I'm not going to lie. I like that. I like that versus Winnipeg. I'm a Jordy Ben guy.
Then you're taking out Connor Timmins.
Yeah.
I guess.
Which I don't like.
Can't have
Couldn't
both.
you take out Morgan Riley and let him have a break?
No.
No, I'm not. Couldn't you though?
No.
He played fine without
Does he
him.
have an injury? Then no.
I think he does. Or maybe he's just still sharpening up.
Right. You're not scratching Morgan.
The thing too, one thing I noticed about the way Detroit plays, and I don't know if you guys have seen this as well. When I was in the Scotiabank Arena for the last game that they played against Detroit last Saturday. And what was fascinating to me is they seem to do this, and I don't even know how to describe it, but they are unbelievable at jumping in and having a support player on the wing. They're like lightning with that, and they do it on both sides of the ice, and it seems to be the only way they can score a goal. And they did it last night.
What's the name of their coach? I keep forgetting. Lalonde,
yeah.
Who they got from Tampa, almost said Detroit. I got into it a little bit yesterday. So I was talking about the dominance of the Bruins, because heading into last night's game, they had only played 40 games. Heading into, or after 40 games, the Bruins this year have a better record after 40 games than the 2001-2002 Red Wings, whose top 8 scorers, I tweeted 7, I was wrong. Their top 8 scorers are in the Hockey Hall of Fame, including plus their starting goaltender Dominic Hasek.
Aren't the 96
and Pavel
Red Wings
Datsuk's not in there?
Aren't they close to where the 96 Red Wings were, which were the best regular season team all time?
Tampa Bay Lightning.
Or Tampa Bay Lightning are higher than that?
Yeah, the year they lost in the first round.
Oh shit! Okay.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
Is that not the best?
I thought it was the 96. It was the 96
The reason
Red
I
Wings for a
focused
while.
on 2002 is a lot of people tend to regard that team as like
The best.
the best, at very least, of the modern era.
Okay.
Like, and I'm okay, or of our lifetime. So I'll say let's say since 1990,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Post Gretzky on the Oilers era.
Okay.
I don't think anyone's been better. Their leading scorer, Brendan Shanahan, had 75 points. Dude, you really had to withstand the dead puck era. How are any of us still hockey fans?
I don't know.
What a miserable...
Thank you, Robbie Ftork.
Absolutely disgusting.
So all-time points by a team in a season, it's the 76-77 Montreal Canadiens. They had 132.
In 80 games?
In 80 games. The Red Wings, 95-96, had 131. The 77-78 Canadiens had 129. And the Lightning of 18-19 had 128. The wins record, that's where Adam and I, this is where we got confused. The Red Wings of 95-96 own the wins record at 62, and the Lightning tie them at 62. So we're both correct.
Okay.
Wow. Wow.
So I'm wondering if Boston's going to get that, right? They must.
Wins record? 62?
They just
63 wins?
Lost to Seattle, and they're going to lose again on Saturday.
Couldn't they? They could. Could we be talking Boston as a 70-win team like Golden State was a few years ago?
Well, it's funny. I'm very interested to see how they respond on Saturday because I want to see how they respond to a loss because we have so little evidence of how they respond to a loss.
Right.
Because they barely ever lost. But I think what's weird about this team, and Bruins fans forgive me, but is the lack of anyone expecting this to happen at all. I was higher on them than either of you.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure I had them third in the Atlantic.
Yes. Yeah. This is crazy.
Because you can't put it's difficult to measure magic. It's very obviously the last dance for them, but Linus Ullmark hasn't lost at home, I think, or was yesterday at home or
he was in net yesterday.
So that was his first.
So yeah, he lost yesterday.
That was their first.
51% of the year, or 52%.
Yeah,
that happened.
Boston's first regulation home loss since last April.
Fuck off! That's so that's so silly.
It's stupid.
That's so stupid. Brad Marchand missing all that time. McAvoy missing all that time. Bergeron's old as shit. Krejci's old as shit.
No one knew Hampus Lindholm was this good too.
No,
McAvoy and Lindholm, it's murderers row. Nobody knew he was going to be this good.
He's been unreal, but outside of Pasternak, what dominant, really outlier seasons are they having?
Ullmark?
Yeah. Well, I already mentioned him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. But for them to,
it's not like
they
one player's carrying
32 out of 40, man.
One team is not carrying this.
It can't just be two players.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure. And it's great team defense.
Great overall play.
Yeah. Jake DeBrusk, who just got put on IR, unfortunately, could barely get into the lineup, requested a trade.
Right. You're looking for the statistical outlier, like a McDavid type season that's carrying the team. Yeah. That doesn't happen with this Bruins squad.
Marchand's been over a point a game, and it doesn't stand out as much because he hasn't played that much. There's no reason for Krejci to be this good, this old. Taylor Hall has been pretty come see, come saw.
Look at the balance in the lineup. Everybody top to bottom, if you're just talking about points, has theirs. They're all doing it together as a team, and it's fantastic to watch. And I think the team defense, the coaching isn't getting enough credit, and they're doing fantastic. It's honestly, very obvious to say that they're doing fantastic.
It's super weird to say that Bruce Cassidy might have been holding them back, but Bruce Cassidy might have been holding them back.
Yeah, and he's going to the All-Star game because the team he's coaching is fucking sick.
It's great. It's a great team.
Hey, by the way, the Leafs are taking on Boston tomorrow night, as we said. And why don't we talk to Dave about some of the odds? And you're going to like the first one especially because it has to do with a former friend.
You can bet that with David Bastel. Brought to you by Sports Interaction. Get in the action and make a play. 19 plus. Please play responsibly.
Okay, so the Leafs are going to take on the Boston Bears.
Yes.
Yeah. Unfortunately, unlike the Chicago Bears, these ones are really good. And we are the only team, I think one of the only teams that's beat them in regulation this year. So it should be a very interesting matchup.
They have 4 regulation losses.
Seattle beat them yesterday.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they're coming off a Seattle loss.
Yeah,
exactly.
So their losses have gone up by 20%.
And it's mid-January.
They're unbelievable. Dave, we've got a whole bunch of good ones, including the former friends bet, which we absolutely love. Who's coming to town that used to be a Leaf?
Yeah, former Maple Leaf great Nick Foligno.
That's right. That's a first and 2/4 to you, sir.
It didn't cost you guys a lot of capital to bring him over, right? What, did he play 5 games for the Leafs?
Honestly, Dave, it cost us the next trade deadline.
Yep.
Because then they didn't do anything yet last year. They were so burned from it. Otherwise, Marc-Andre Fleury and Brandon Hagel would be Leafs. There's a few others, though, that you've got here that I think are really interesting, including one with 100-1 odds.
What?
Yeah. So we just thought we'd throw out that magical possibility, right? It doesn't happen often, but scoreless draw in Beantown is paying 100-1. So are we going to get a goaltending matchup? Certainly there's a couple of good goaltenders that are expected to play in this one. Could it be 0-0? 100-1 is almost worth the lottery ticket, so to speak. And the other thing I was when we were researching this, because we're looking for extra things to throw on, we have a couple hat trick props with Marner and Nylander we've added there. There's no Ontario-born players on the Boston Bruins. Isn't that kind of weird?
What?
I didn't know that.
None?
Yeah, neither did I. Yeah.
Wow. That's
See, I thought Foligno was, but Foligno was born in Buffalo, right? Because everybody thinks, father was Canadian, played in Sudbury forever.
Yeah.
It's like, no, he had both the Foligno kids in Buffalo when he was a Sabre.
wow.
Oh, yeah, he plays for the he
was with the Sabres longer than he was with the Leafs.
Oh, yeah.
Weird.
That's got to be like, how many of the 32 teams don't have an Ontario-born player?
Exactly.
Cannot be many.
Exactly.
Wow.
Too many.
Okay.
Too many.
But I love what you have here. A couple of hat trick ones you can do. Mitch Marner for a hat trick at 81-1.
Yep.
Willie Stiles for a hat trick at 67-1.
Have to return that one. Have to return that one for Jess. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I bet that every game.
Also, let me ask you this, David. Is there a particular reason why you took 67-1?
Yeah.
yeah, playing with numbers.
Oh, yeah.
I'll be
just
more direct with the
random.
question. What's your problem?
Just random. Yep. I'm a little bit of a jerk.
All right.
Well, listen, you know what? We'll be talking about the Leafs and Jets next week, sir, because they're coming to town on Thursday.
Yeah, I can't wait.
But until then, Dave Bassel, thanks so much for joining us, my friend.
Thanks, guys. Oh, one more thing. I want to add this on. Sprinkle here. Super Bowl pinata bets are available now. They're actually starting to be bet hard. We don't know who's going to be even in the Super Bowl, but it's one of our favorite pinata bets. You can bet who's going to win, what conference, and so forth. And like I said, pinata bets kind of like chipping in your lottery ticket. And you know what? The payoff is fantastic.
$2
So,
Steve.
check that out.
$2 Steve got in on the action.
Already?
Yep. So it spit out the Minnesota Vikings beating the Buffalo Bills.
So you bet and then you just get a matchup back, and that's your matchup.
You get a matchup
exactly.
and an outcome. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, and then what are the odds on those?
80-1. 80-1.
Oh, 80-1.
It's good.
I don't know how I don't have one of these already.
Okay.
I gotta go do
On
it.
the front page.
I happened to see it yesterday.
Check
Oh
it
my
out.
gosh. Okay. Awesome.
Okay.
That's fun.
Minnesota to beat Buffalo.
Honestly, going into Super Bowl, it is going to be a blast. I can't wait to bet on Gatorade. Honestly, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Give you that option too.
I'm ready.
Clear.
Clear Gatorade?
That's the one.
All right.
Clear.
All right.
Dave, we will see you. We will see you on Monday, sir, and we hope you have a fantastic weekend.
Yeah, all the best to you guys. Thanks, guys.
Hey. So,
You got a tattoo.
no.
Did Steve get
Are
a
you going
tattoo?
hockey
You can
tonight?
bet on that at
I'm gonna
sportsinteraction.com/SDPN.
You can't run me. There's no contact. Don't be
No,
one of those guys.
maybe I'll
We
accidentally
have jobs.
run. Yeah, you're 100% right.
No, don't hurt me.
Yeah. It's funny. There are two
hurt me.
younger guys who sort of get into it,
Oh,
and all the older people just sit back and watch and go, "Nah, don't."
Oh, I got a surprise for hockey.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
You'll see it.
Anyway, so before Dave, I started going off on this diatribe about the Bruins, and I wanted to bring it back up because I realized why I brought it up, and I never actually got to the point that I was trying to make. The Atlantic Division. So I was talking about how good the Bruins were, and some fans of Metro teams, Carolina specifically, because they're leading the Metro, were like, yeah, but in the Atlantic, you get to beat up on a bunch of bottom feeders.
Excuse me?
Excusez-moi. You know what? That might have been the case before, but our bottom feeders are actually quite good. And might I suggest that the 3 teams at the top of the Atlantic are really, 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 really fucking good. Detroit is not a bottom feeder.
No,
Not anymore. They're not.
They're a good team.
Yeah, like
Sabres.
Sabres are no
Good
longer
team.
a bottom feeder. And there's Montreal.
Montreal and Ottawa.
Ottawa's had a tough
Better.
go of it. I think if they don't lose Josh Norris basically immediately, their season probably goes a little differently. They're fine. Sure. I'll give it to you that they're a bottom feeder. That's 2. It's 2 out of a division of 8.
Yeah.
Stop that.
Yeah.
And also, it would be in the Metro. You're saying Philly and Columbus, or they're like difficult.
They're awesome. They're awesome.
What are they?
Awesome. And Florida, I don't think Florida's a bottom feeder. I think they're just playing like it.
All right. It's such a stark difference between the top 3 teams and the bottom rest of the Atlantic that it looks like, oh, hey, they're just beating up on the lesser teams. But no, because those teams are dominant. And these teams are also good, but they're just not the top 3 teams in the NHL. You know?
Yeah.
So.
No, I thought that was silly.
I got a couple of things I want to talk about.
Mhm.
Now, I want to remind you, or I want to say something. In about 10 minutes here, we're going to have an interview with a guy who created a mask with Steve's face on it.
Love that.
Imagine choosing to have Steve's face on your head.
A goalie mask.
A goalie mask, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah,
of
but
course.
what does the goalie need? Eyes on the back of their head.
That's right.
And now they have them.
That's right.
Mine. Can't see for distance.
I want to talk about a couple of things on PK. So yesterday, PK Subban obviously honored in Montreal. He and Carey actually did the handshake that they were known for. But he's done a couple of interviews, and one of the things that I thought was fascinating was that there was some interest in him around the league before he actually retired this summer.
Mm-hmm.
And he said he was pretty surprised. He said, "I felt I could have helped a number of teams as a free agent." By the way, he said this to Michael Trakos of the Toronto Sun. It's important that we quote that. "I felt I could have helped a number of teams. As a free agent, I wanted to play on a contending team. I think Edmonton showed some interest. Carolina had shown some interest. I did not have discussions with the Maple Leafs. They were not interested in signing me. Money was never an issue. It was about the opportunity to come in and help a team win. I wanted to win a Stanley Cup, but those opportunities were never presented." He said, maybe, who knows, maybe I'll become a Stanley Cup winner as an owner.
Hey,
Which I
there
love.
you go. I love that. So that basically confirms sort of what we were talking about before, where he was in a position where he could be pick and choosy. He wasn't some guy trying to
Hang on.
desperately cling on to the league. He was looking for a specific situation. He didn't get it, so he retired.
Hung him up.
Good for him.
It was amazing to see the reaction to him in Montreal. Like he just, it's like there's certain people that can just electrify a room, and he
Yeah.
can.
I do want to shout out one legend in particular, because I actually know someone who was at this game with a minor hockey team, and they were sitting right in front of the box that PK and all his family were in. And they got like a photo with PK. They got a photo with Carey Price, which is really cool. And they were all wearing different jerseys. Some of them were wearing their own team's jersey, and a bunch of them obviously were wearing Habs jerseys. And there was one kid who was a legend and was wearing an Auston Matthews reverse retro jersey from last year.
I love that. I love that.
Now, for taking the picture with PK, they took it off.
Oh,
Good. No, that's
Yeah,
good.
No, that's for the future. I think you might be glad. Also, maybe you should have left it on. Also, maybe you should have taken it off. I don't know. But you're a legend for even wearing that to the game.
Well, I don't know if you saw this, but he was talking on TV this week, PK, about Auston Matthews' style, and he said he really loves his man purse. He's like, you got to carry one.
Does he have one?
Yeah. Well, Austin will walk around with like a person that, like in the summertime, he's always got this bag. I can,
I don't know.
just like a fanny pack, the fanny pack thing of
Yeah.
coming back in style. And PK said, I do like the merce he's got going on right there. He's talking about the fact that he's like, everything's loose for Austin, but his game's tight. He's got the Bieber beanie going. I like it. I would like to see the jacket a little tighter. He's like, with his physique, you should wear some tighter clothes. And you know what? If you're going to take fashion advice from anyone in the NHL, PK's the guy.
That's the dude.
Yeah, but that's not the trend right now.
What's the trend?
The trend is big, baggy Billie Eilish clothes. And
Oh yeah.
that's what he's going for.
yeah.
See, PK, there's you being a boomer.
Oh,
You were
man.
drafted all the way back
PK
in
boomer.
2007.
Yeah.
Matthews 2016.
True.
The future is now, old man.
In the meantime, let's bring on Trevor.
If you're interested in more PK Subban conversation, yesterday
No, go to Adam's thing.
myself, Julian McKenzie, and Andrew Berkshire did an hour and 15-minute full career retrospective on PK Subban. It's available on podcast feed under the Jesse Blake Sports Report, and it's also available on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/SDPN. We covered everything. Like we started at the very beginning, from when he was drafted from by Bob Gainey.
He was drafted by Bob Gainey.
Yeah.
What? That's crazy.
Right, and we cover Bergevin coming in and the growing of the triple low five, and then the trade, obviously the 23 minutes that shocked the hockey world, as people remember it as. So we do the whole thing. It's one of my favorite recordings like I've ever done for that show. Please go listen to that if you want more on PK Subban.
I would definitely check that out. Now let's bring on Trevor from Calgary. So we're bringing on Trevor Prosser, who made some waves on Reddit this week. And we had to find you. So Robert Malloy, our social coordinator, reached out, like he went on a fact-finding mission. Who is this person? And because we found your goalie mask, or that you had posted, and it has Steve on the back of it, and it says 10 the goal. So we had to reach out to you. So welcome Trevor Prosser from Calgary, Alberta, to the SDP. Trevor, we're so excited that you're here. So how did this, first off, do you have the mask?
I do have the mask, yeah.
Okay, let's see.
I have it sitting right here. So there's the mask.
Amazing.
That's unreal.
Amazing. Okay.
That's so unreal. Oh my God, man.
So tell us, Trevor, like, how did this all even come together?
Sure. First of all, thanks for having me on. Really appreciate the opportunity. I'm a big fan of, the Dang It's videos, the watch along from the playoffs last year's where I kind of got hooked, and, I even went and bought the merch.
Love that.
Yeah. And so this past year, actually, I've started goaltending for the very first time at the age of 45. Oh. And the funny thing I found is that, I've got my mask and I'm like, I got to get this painted up. But I didn't think, I had enough time over the holiday season. I wanted a little project. I thought I'll just start with the backplate. But as a rookie goaltender, I never leave my crease, right? So if the puck's in the corner behind the net or something, I'm not going to get it because I know I'm going to trip over it. I'm going to fall. I'm going to make a pass. It's going to go right to a guy. He's going to tuck it in. I'm going to look stupid. So I thought, this is perfect. I'll just put Dangle on the back saying, 10 the goal. And, my defensemen come in and they're like, how come you're not going to go play that puck? I'm like, sorry, if you're a goaltender, 10 the goal.
That's right. That's right. What I love, too, is that you started goaltending. And I always feel like everybody that starts goaltending later on does it because there's other motives. First off, unlimited ice time. Second, people will pay you to play for their team.
Exactly.
Yeah. And
Right? Nailed it.
Third, you hate your groin.
Yeah.
You just hate your own groin, and you've decided you don't need it anymore.
You instantly become everybody's best friend because everybody needs a goalie.
I don't think I'm at the level where I'm getting paid to play yet.
Okay.
You will.
Fair enough. It's going to happen.
You will.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Well, listen, Trevor, we just thought it was such a cool mask. We're going to take it and we'll post it on this video and we'll post it on our social media as well. Jesse, go ahead.
Who did the artwork?
Oh, yeah.
I painted it myself, yeah.
No way.
Wow.
Oh, I thought you got it commissioned by an artist or something. Wow. You're very talented, dude.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, no, it's, I figured while I started goaltending, why not start painting goalie masks at the same time? And so that's...
Do you have a business? Can people reach out to you? Like, can we get commissions going?
Yeah, why not? I do have a website. It's goaliemaskpainting.com.
Okay. I'm shocked that that URL was even available. It's amazing.
I looked up, it won't be there, but I'll give it a shot. And yeah, sure enough, it was there. I'm like, okay, yeah, lock that down for sure.
I love that.
Do you have any other of your masks with you?
Not with me. I've done one recently for a guy with the Auburn Tigers. But that's back off with now.
I'm looking at your website right now. I'm loading it up on my very slow internet here. Wow. This is amazing.
The first thing on your site is my face.
Yeah, I love this. Oh my goodness.
I'm taking you to court. No, I'm kidding.
I love your
that's unreal.
Your Bombers, your Riders mock-up, your Rough Riders mock-up. We always make fun of Riders fans on this show, Trevor, for going to literally any event ever and still wearing their Riders jersey. But the melon, the watermelon mask is amazing.
The Tigers mask is really cool. The Edmonton Elks one is really dope.
Yeah, this is great. Wow.
Okay, please, Trevor.
I got trouble with that one. Like, I have to actually give them a good mask, despite the fact that I'm a huge Stampeders fan, and I'm like so tempted to just put a giant L on the front of it. But I'm like, no, nice for them.
Wow.
Trevor, plug your site again.
Yes, please.
Oh, that'd be awesome. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So it's goaliemaskpainting.com. You can check out Trevor's portfolio and reach out to Trevor. And this is so cool.
Yeah.
Dude,
this is so cool.
And the
I'm
Steve
really
one
happy
more
about it.
time for the camera.
Yeah, you show us one more time.
Yeah, so there's the Steve.
Oh.
And you can actually get that on Trevor's website too, which is cool. So that template's available for anybody that wants it.
Well,
So you could get it.
what?
Yeah.
Well, take my money there, Trevor. Wow.
Trevor, it's a real pleasure to meet you. Thank you for making time for our show. We really, really appreciate it. And say hi to Calgary, Alberta for us.
I will. Thanks so much for having me on, guys, and keep up the great work.
Thank you. Did you know Adam lived in Calgary?
I don't talk about it.
Calgary.
Wow. You should mention that more.
So I want to talk about a few things with the Vancouver game last night, starting with this. Not the punch. We'll
No.
talk about the punch in a second.
Yeah.
Oliver Ekman-Larsson's a healthy scratch last night for the first time in his entire career.
Oh, wow. Okay.
How do we feel about that?
Yeah, he's not good.
Mm-hmm.
Is what it is. It's not Bruce Boudreau's responsibility to sign Oliver Ekman-Larsson's paychecks. I mean, I feel bad for Oliver Ekman-Larsson in a way. I mean, at the end of the day, his check still arrives.
Mm-hmm.
But you're now on this team, very obviously an albatross, and no one there is actually responsible for you being there, except for the owner, and you're
that's-
not going to say anything to him.
That is rough.
Jim
Yeah.
Rutherford is not responsible for Oliver Ekman-Larsson being there. Patrick Allvin is not responsible for him being there. Bruce Boudreau is not responsible for him being there. And he's a massive boat anchor on the team. Like, a few years ago, remember we talked about the summer of Ekman-Larsson is available. And if you don't get him, you can get Drew Doughty. And if you don't get him, you can get Erik Karlsson. And boy, have all of their careers gone in wildly different directions. Karlsson is having a resurgence. Doughty's on a top 10 team with a negative goal differential and has been for months. I don't get it. And Ekman-Larsson probably shouldn't be in the NHL. And if he should be in the NHL, he should be making close to league.
That's what I want to ask. Sorry, Jesse, go ahead.
No, not being in the NHL is a little far. He's probably just not playing in the right role.
It's not like Vancouver's
Definitely
good.
not.
Yeah.
So, and I know they tried to, they mounted a comeback against Tampa a little bit last night,
should
which
be
is
making
great.
Justin Hall money.
But like, is when you get scratched, it almost sends the message like you're not good enough to play for this team, and you have to be not great by NHL standards to not be good enough to play for the Vancouver Canucks.
Yeah.
Like, are you talking he is not an NHL player even by Canucks standards?
Maybe you're just not good enough to be in the lineup every game. Maybe it's
That contract goes till 2027. You know that.
Oh yeah. Then maybe it's a healthy scratch where he's like he's 85%. You know what I mean? Which I think is just the general operation of any NHL player at any given point. Listen, what have the Canucks learned this season? That they should just keep doing the same thing? No, it's good to see them try something new. And they lost to Tampa, yeah, but gave them a run for their money at very least. Dude, he can't be on the Canucks anymore for them to be successful. He can't.
And Bruce Boudreau has there's no motivation here for him to be nice to any of these players. Like he has to do what's honest here and what he thinks is going to win any game.
He's
possible.
coaching for his next coaching job.
I don't know if we're going to get to this as well. The Rick Tocchet stuff.
If you want to.
Yeah, because Elliot reported that they're talking to Rick Tocchet about bringing him in as a coach. So
Like an assistant coach or the head coach?
No, letting go of Bruce and bringing in Rick Tocchet.
That's very public.
Maybe the third coach in less than 3 years will fix a complete. The roster shouldn't be.
Mhm.
Listen. You have two guys committed to next year, totaling nearly $14 million in Tyler Myers and Oliver Ekman-Larsson. And are they good enough? I was looking at the wrong guy. It's over $13 million though. Are either of them? You can make the argument neither of them are NHL defensemen. Tyler Myers definitely isn't.
So if a good team couldn't have those guys at that skill level to 5'6". Forget the money.
You probably someone in the NHL is probably going to take OEL for his experience and Myers maybe for his experience, and you play them in very specific roles. There are players in this league who just play too much. And maybe that's what's happening with OEL and Myers. You know, like you said, you put them in a 5-6 role on. Like, I'm fairly confident Tampa can make something of them.
Oh, yeah, because Tampa's got a system.
Well, and they also are like, hey, how about you don't play every goddamn shift or in every situation? We'll protect you. Oh, man. It's bad.
So
it's real bad.
There's a couple of things with the Rick Tocchet stuff and the rumors of them bringing him in. One was that Jim Rutherford and Patrick Alvin, Bruce Boudreau came in really around the same time as them. It wasn't their guy necessarily that they brought in to for the head coach of the Vancouver Canucks. So they want to get their own guy in there. And two, when was the last time we had rumors of a new head coach hiring when the guy's already in place?
Like we had a name.
Right.
We have a name.
We have a name
Usually
of a dude
here,
they're
they might get
talking
fired.
to.
Oh, yeah.
That's crazy. And he's still there. Imagine being Bruce and hearing that.
But he knows. He knows. Like Rutherford said it. He's like, that's not the guy I would have hired.
Right. But you expect your team to perform well and there's media rumors about you being fired? Like, how is anybody in that locker room supposed to have their head on straight?
I don't think that's the expectation anymore.
Francesco Aquilini has a money-burning furnace in his house. And he just shovels. There's just like an old-timey Bugs Bunny / Titanic
villain
NPC of a character who just takes a shovel and just puts it into the furnace and it heats his house. Oh yeah, let's pay 3 coaches and let's pay this guy to do nothing and let's pay that guy to do nothing and I'm the smartest fucking guy in the universe. He's just lighting money on fire. I don't know, it's not mine. Let him.
Tocchet, by the way, was the assistant to Mike Sullivan when the Penguins won the cup, and Jim Rutherford was obviously the boss. So that's where that relationship comes from. So they want to bring in their guy, and the guy who they're replacing is still in place, and all of a sudden this is leaking and they're talking to other coaches. That seems like an awful way to do business. And top down the organization, everything we've seen this season is that they do terrible business. So it's a mess.
It's not a smart hockey team.
One thing
it's not a smart organization.
I want to ask you. So Quinn Hughes has played 242 NHL games. How many points does he have?
Like 1 million. To how many?
242 games. How many points?
200.
182.
He hit 200 last night.
Hey!
Isn't that cool? So listen, there is one bright spot, and that's fucking crazy. By the way, Quinn Hughes has already played almost 250 games.
Yeah, man.
Come on now. That's a little. Time's going a little fast. I think
see his quote about Tanner Pearson?
No, what did he say?
So Pearson had a set. I guess he was out of the lineup with a hand injury.
Yeah.
He experienced a setback, and now he's out for the whole season. And Quinn Hughes said that it was, and I don't think he meant to make a funny here, but he said it was mishandled.
Yep. And
but does that mean it was mishandled by Canucks medical staff? Is he calling them out?
The Vancouver Canucks edited the clip out when they posted the post-game interviews. He definitely wasn't supposed to say that.
Maybe he wanted to say that. Maybe he was like, "This is enough."
So I really like Quinn Hughes. Just as a guy,
both brothers are they've got a real confidence to them.
Yeah, no, well, but it's funny you can tell they're related, but you can tell they're very different.
Yeah.
And when I spoke to Quinn Hughes, one of the impressions I was left with is he is incapable of telling a lie. And then you listen to the 32 Thoughts interview he did with Jeff and Elliott in Henderson, in September. And it's a great interview, and I think he's a really honest guy, and he's not capable of telling a lie. But this tweet caught my eye from Sean Warren. So, since training camp, the Canucks have had 3 people call them out on medical decisions. Jason Dickinson, who they traded, Rachel Dory, who they fired, and Quinn Hughes on behalf of Pearson. Not great, Bob.
Everything is just, hey, it's a shitstorm.
And I think I'm so hard on the team because, like, how long did I beat that drum that they shouldn't be this bad?
Mm-hmm. And they have a great fan base. Vancouver
fan
Canucks
base.
fans are so passionate.
And
They
honest.
love that team.
Deadly honest. No
Yeah.
one's harder on the Canucks than Canucks Twitter right now.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody.
Yeah,
No.
they get it. They're very smart hockey fans.
It's just
Maybe the building with the most tension in the league. Honestly.
you're paying to see a tire fire at this point. You're paying to see disaster.
Yeah, but they
you're-
still
like,
show up to every game hoping they win.
Well, but the Leafs, the same thing happened with the Leafs at the end of the Horacek year. Remember that? Where, like, you actually, first off, they stopped selling out, which was the first time that had happened in 20 years. They stopped selling out games. You could buy tickets outside of a Leafs game. Once the game started and the ticket prices go down from a scalper, you could buy them for $20, lower bowl.
Oh, there were-
$20.
I covered them during those years. There were lots of empty seats.
But when you were going, you knew you were paying to see the fire. This is the fire. The fire is the team. The Canucks, you're paying to see a disaster unfold in real time, and it's an 82-part disaster because it's an 82-part regular season. So you're paying for 1/82nd of the disaster that is the Canucks this year. And I do think a lot of people still say, listen, this group of, the GM, the president, whatever, they didn't put this team together. But my problem with that is that they intentionally held it together. They didn't have to sign JT Miller, and they did. They didn't have to not sign Bo Horvat, and look at where they are. Probably won't, because they don't want to sign him for more than JT Miller.
I would love to know to what extent is ownership's fingerprints on this team. Like, obviously, all owners are going to have something to say about their toy, right?
Have to. Yeah.
I want to know.
I want to move on to something else here. John Tortorella has grounded the Philadelphia Flyers.
Berkshire sent this to me because he thought it was parody and he couldn't tell. And I was flabbergasted to discover it was real.
John Tortorella has taken away the iPads from the Flyers bench so that players can, quote, just worry about their next shift rather than reviewing the previous one, I think is what's unsaid there.
You know, the good teams use them too, eh?
Well,
it's so stupid.
I don't know that the Flyers are such a mess that I think even Torts doesn't know quite what to do with this group. We know there's going to be changes in the offseason. We know that. There's players that love Torts and there's players that can't stand him. And the players that can't stand him, he knows, and you're gone. Yeah. Right? But here's what his quote was, and this is from Gianna Hahn, and she is a reporter for the Inquirer in Philadelphia. She's the Flyers beat reporter. She said, Torts said, I don't give a flying shit about how I'm perceived because it's my job to coach our team, John Tortorella said, when asked about the perception of being old school when he pulled the iPads from the bench. He said, it's a terrible way to live to be too concerned with other people's opinions. He said, quote, I'm not trying to be an idiot here. We have a major problem understanding the flow of games. He said they have such a young team, he doesn't want them getting hung up on watching replays.
Mm-hmm. He specifically
during
said
the game
as well, you can't understand the momentum of the game if you're looking at an iPad all the time. We took them off and aren't going to use them so that they watch the game and see what's next.
You know what strikes me as confusing about this? Because I said, hey, the good teams use these too. The Flyers are 7-3-0 in their last 10.
Mm-hmm.
They're on a heater. Fuck are you doing, John?
Yeah, why are you so...
You know what I think he's done? Watch Regina Pat's game. You know what? We're doing too well here. I feel like coaching Connor Bedard. So, you know what? I was on TV a few months ago, and now I have the opportunity to coach Connor Bedard, and you lot are fucking it up.
Give
me those iPads.
Just with the iPad thing, Konechny, who is like one of the heavier users of the iPads, got chirped because when they played the Capitals and they beat them 5-3, he had a hat trick and no iPads. So everyone's like, look, it worked.
Oh, okay.
So now
he's their best freaking player. Come on. Come on.
But to the Flyers players, what are you, stupid? Now you're never going to have them again. It's your job to throw that game. You gotta play the worst game of your life.
Okay, so he may have a point.
Oh,
No.
He may have a point.
No.
I think
I am not the defender of Torts. I like his quotes. I can't stand his coaching style most of the time. But I gotta say that I do feel like if you're going to the bench and you're watching your replay after every shift,
it's overusing.
it's overusing, and you're not
Every
watching the
shift?
game.
Every shift?
If
Some shifts.
it's that much, right? It's not like in 20 games they won't have their iPad privileges restored. But what he's trying to say is be in the physical game. The second you turn that iPad on, when the game's going, you're not paying attention to the game. You're not playing the game.
And playing Candy Crush, you can't play.
You can't be doing that.
Yeah.
You at least got to do Clash of Clans.
This is an awful old man take.
I actually don't think that it is. Like, I think there's a time and a place. I think you can watch during stoppages. But if I'm a head coach, I want you to be watching the game while you're in the game. I do. I want you to watch the play. What if you fucking miss something? What if it's your turn? How many times, I bet you what this stemmed from is there a couple of times guys had iPads and Torts said, okay, you're up.
Oh. Shit. And but
like you can look at replays.
You just made that up.
You don't know
that happened.
You can look at replays between the periods. They will isolate. Yeah. Remember the Amazon documentary where Keith pulls Mikheyev in and he's like, "Hey, see this? I want you to stop doing that in the third period." Back into the dressing room. You can do that. Do you need it in real time all the time? Not all the time.
I believe that it's possible something like that happened, Adam. Where it falls apart is it's John Tortorella. Where it falls apart is it's John Tortorella.
It's a theory.
Who's
I'm allowed to have a theory.
incapable of telling a lie.
He's incapable.
He's also incapable.
He doesn't lie. He doesn't. He doesn't give a shit.
He doesn't give a shit. Like you don't need to say it anymore. Actually, John.
One of the biggest users of the iPads, if you watch Leafs games all the time, Mitch Marner. He loves to go back and just check and see what happened on that play and then put down the iPad. Is Mitch Marner a bad hockey player?
No, and I'm not saying it makes you a bad hockey player. I'm saying maybe they hit a point where they're overused, and then it's like, okay, let's back it off a little bit here.
So let's take away their toys.
Well, he obviously warned them.
Lock it in a box.
And then fine, we're taking it away now.
I think
that's so stupid.
They are. Listen, NHL players do act like children sometimes, guys.
Yes.
We know that.
Yeah.
So does John.
So does John. Sure. Petulant.
What do you think?
NHL jersey. Every NHL jersey, in the back of their sweater, there's a little chip. Every NHL puck, if you were to cut it open, there's a little chip in it.
There is.
The amount of technology that these guys have, and you're not going to use that in real time during games so that you can gain an advantage on the other team. You're asking yourself to limit your own knowledge of what's happening on the ice so that you can say, we're focused. We're focused now.
And you know
Use
what?
the technology. It's there.
They never used to need iPads, though.
No, they didn't.
So, and they also never needed hollow carbon fiber sticks.
We also never used to need
I think
cars.
the Flyers should play next game with wooden sticks.
You know what? They didn't need helmets either.
No, Ben
They
Sherrod's
also
like,
didn't
you know what? We
need-
should use wooden sticks.
They also didn't need the forward pass until the 1900s.
You know what?
Why don't we just
Jesse's onto something?
Let's only pass it backwards, you guys.
Guys.
What if that's smarter?
Guys. The Flyers stink and they have a shitty clubhouse. They do. And
It's
I know
because of the iPad.
you got to do something. You can't do nothing.
No,
They don't currently stink.
No,
though.
they don't.
Yeah.
And in fact, I got a fucking snarky message from a actually, I'll leave this for later. Never mind. It's a funny message. It's a funny message.
Yeah. Okay.
But I do think I love Torts' quotes. I feel like there's got to be something
don't.
more to this than you don't like his quotes.
No. I think you got to use every single ounce of advantage you have over the other team. You just fuck it. Pro sports is so competitive.
Mm-hmm.
You're limiting yourself for no reason other than to be an old man.
Well, yeah. Oh, man. Did you see what Torts said? Oh,
okay.
man. Was it like dismissive and combative?
Now, I'll say this. The thing that
you're
drives
boring.
me crazy about Torts is like, I remember back in the day, do you remember when he said, like, he curated
Challenge a reporter to a fight?
He curated the playlist to the Columbus Blue Jackets like pregame. Like there was music that I guess he didn't feel like amped them up, or there wasn't something productive.
What?
I don't remember the story.
Was it?
But he does.
Enya? Like what?
He does get in depth that way, And I think that's when the Columbus Blue Jackets finally sat him down and said, listen, John, you got to fucking chill, man. Remember the players meeting with the coach and were like, you need to stop.
I don't
remember. Is Torts driving you nuts?
But
Do you think?
I'm pretty sure it happened.
Okay, there are coaches that I think elevate their players, and there are coaches where I think teams play well just to avoid their wrath. Like, hey guys, what if we did this tonight just so we don't have to deal with John?
Let's just win this one so he doesn't yell at us.
Like, can we? He's in a weird mood. He talked about how I had to shit the other day, and I lead the team in scoring, and I'm a pending free agent. Can we just
Connect
so
me
he
with pending
leaves us
free
the
agent?
fuck alone? No, I'm talking about Panarin.
Oh, okay.
It's all he's shitting all day. That's great, John. Thank you for that. I don't know. I just feel like there's been too many seasons of this show, and when's it going to get canceled?
The Torts.
It's been telling the same joke for a quarter century.
There's always
I don't
some
think we need
success to
another
this
season
show.
of this show.
This show has always had a little bit of success, and then it falls off about 3-4 years in.
No, I think we just keep turning this show on because it's habit, and maybe there are better shows.
Okay. Okay.
John Tortorella is one of the best 32 head coaches on the planet. No, he's not. That's enough.
One of our listeners says we all owe former Flyers goalie Martin Jones an apology.
If man,
Connor Laviolette tweeted me, Instagrammed me and said, and by the way, I believe he's won at least 5 games in a row. But let me tell you this, Connor. Martin Jones ain't the reason for Seattle's success. Let me just do something super cheap here.
He's one of them.
No, he's not.
At all?
The Seattle Kraken are a very good hockey team. Please don't diminish that by saying Martin Jones is a great goalie, because the Seattle Kraken, as good as they've been, and by the way, Martin Jones is 25-3. His save percentage is still under 9. So they are winning despite less than mediocre goaltending for Martin Jones. So I'm sorry, Connor, but that if Steve is telling me that he Torts is not one of the best 32 coaches in the world, I'm telling you Martin Jones is not one of the best 64 goalies in the world.
Have you ever heard the saying, I don't have to outrun the bear, I just have to outrun you?
Right.
Martin Jones' job was to outrun you, and you is Philip Grubauer. And he's done exactly that. He is an 898, which is not very good. Mm-hmm. Grubauer is an 885, which is teetering on unusable.
Martin,
he's better.
Yes, Jesse.
Martin Jones as well. Back-to-back shutouts, by the way.
I know.
He's
That's so
also
dumb.
a product of a very good defense that does not allow a lot of shots on goal. So when Martin Jones allows a couple of shots, his save percentage is a little low because his games, you'll see a lot of games the Seattle Kraken win, and then Martin Jones will be in the net, and it'll be like a 23 shot night. He allowed 3 goals and this 20 saves. It's 20 on 23, and the save percentage is in the low 900s, high 8s. Because they don't allow a lot of shots. He doesn't have to do a lot of work, and he just has. I thought you were going to go. He just has to outrun the bear in that he just has to allow the Seattle Kraken to score enough goals, and he just has to make enough saves, which is what he's doing.
And I think the wild part of the Kraken outscoring their goaltending problems, they don't have a single point a game player.
That's crazy.
Not one. Their leading scorer is Andrei Burakovsky with 35 points in 41 games.
Wow. They are like a 1999 team.
The closest thing the Seattle Kraken have to a point a game player is Eli Tolvanen, who they just got off waivers, who has 6 points in 7 games. That is the closest thing they have to a point a game player. No one else is even. Beniers, not challenging, 34 and 41. Burakovsky, 35 and 41, not challenging. Eberle, 34 and 41, not challenging. Vince Dunn, by the way, having an unreal season with 30 points in 41 games on the back end. Not even close.
Of the last,
so how are they doing this?
It's not unlike the Boston Bruins in the same way. Team defense is driving this squad.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's like the Bruins if they didn't have Pasternak and Ullmark stunk.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah, or
how are they doing this?
and honestly, I feel like Seattle's defense is playing for their lives because they realize that if somebody does get a shot through, it's probably going in. Like,
Man.
look at this. Martin Jones, man.
They don't score a ton, their defense.
Since 18-19, Martin Jones, 5 years. Each of those years, including this one, he has a save percentage under 900, except for last year where it was exactly 900. His goals against average has hovered at about 3, including last year a banner 342.
Listen,
Are you kidding me?
I figured it out.
I don't know Martin Jones an apology,
I figured it out.
but I'm glad he's having a good year for him.
The guy who sent you that has Martin
Connor.
Jones.
Hi, Connor.
Hi, Connor. Connor, you have Martin Jones in fantasy, don't you?
Yeah.
You have Martin Jones.
Why would you draft Martin Jones in fantasy?
Nobody's unreal. No, you pick him up off waivers.
Oh, because the wins, right?
Tic Tac Tomar picked up Martin Jones off waivers this morning before I even woke up. And I was mad about it because I need a goalie.
Because of the wins.
Because of the wins.
Are the wins, guys, just because I don't play fantasy a lot, are the wins weighted heavier than a lot of other goaltending stats?
Yeah, all of them. Except for shutouts.
You guys have a different scoring system than us. All our categories are weighted the same.
I'm not doing well, so I'm starting to think our scoring system is bad.
If you're looking for a goalie, Phoenix Copley's probably still on waivers.
No, he's not.
No, somebody got him already.
Someone got him. I got Karel Vejmelka, who is actually decent because even when he doesn't win games, he has a positive impact because the Coyotes get shelled every night. Because he makes a lot of saves. Because he has to. For them to even have a chance. I hate playing with smart people. I was like, I'm going to get Phoenix Copley. Oh, he was taken last week. Fuck.
Yeah, it's
I'm
difficult
a week dumber than them.
because you're in a bunch of hardcore hockey fans, right? You don't have any casuals in your league.
Yeah, that's your biggest problem.
Myrtle is beating us. Or like Myrtle's in first place by a wide margin. And he made me a trade offer yesterday. And I was like, am I the bad GM?
Yeah.
Am I the bad GM? The smart GM's called? Oh,
what was the
shit.
offer?
It's I couldn't accept it. It was JT Miller, who I have and don't want, for Ilya Samsonov. Because he knows I need a goalie. That? No, it's not even close to fair value. It's not even close. I would consider it because I need a goalie if he sweetened it, which he's refusing to do because he doesn't need to make the trade because he's in first place. So I think I'm just fucked.
I was checking out the Seattle Kraken's shots against stats on Money Pocket just to back up some of my theory. And like it seems like the low danger shots is where they're really getting a lot of their value in terms of the goaltending situation. You know, they're not allowing a lot of low danger shots. They're right next to the Boston Bruins at 9-13.
So you know,
9-17, Seattle and Boston.
You know who he might owe an apology to? Dave Haxtell. That dude ran the Leafs defense, and we were like, "You stink." And then he went to Seattle and didn't play well, or they didn't play well, and we're like, "You stink." And I talked about him as one of the candidates to get fired, and look at them.
They lead the league in takeaways from opponent. They're right at the top.
This is Money Puck?
Right next to Vegas and Toronto. Yeah. Great team defense. Share of takeaways as well.
And honestly, they deserve big credit for that. It's cool what's happened in Seattle this year. For sure.
And, you know, a lot of people were dancing on their grave because, not because they made weird picks in the expansion draft, which I think we can all acknowledge they made weird picks in the expansion draft, but they're an extremely analytics heavy team. They were built
That's why I don't like them, because they're a bunch of freaking nerds.
Well, and people were like, hey, look, the nerds lost. And no one ever points out when the nerds win.
And they are.
By the way, the Lightning and the Avalanche?
Nerds.
And
we sure made fun of the Avalanche once.
I know they're run by jocks, and they're run by jocks who take all their advice from nerds.
Cause for concern, possibly? Their goals for above expected is through the fucking moon. It's 19.66. The next closest is Vancouver, 14.87. So
they may regress.
And the next closest team is Buffalo with 7.
But it might not happen this year. There's some years where it's like the entire year's like that.
That's the thing. You might be able to maintain a heater, but you need
the
whole year.
You need to go trade or sign some goal scoring this offseason. Is essentially what it's telling you.
Nothing will ever rival Patrick Waugh's first season in Colorado.
Yeah.
Oh, that team was bananas.
That team was.
He took out that stanchion in between both nets in the first game,
Yep.
and then they were like, "We're scoring all the goals.
How
And we're
about
terrible."
we ride this legitimately hunk of hot garbage to
Right.
to third place in the NHL
and a first round exit.
against Minnesota Wild.
Yeah, I remember.
And for like context on the goals for above expected, like 0 is the medium. That means everything is kind of even. There's only 10 teams that are above in goals for above expected, and like Boston's at a 1.32, which means and Seattle's a 19.
That's a huge swing.
We'll see what happens. This is going to be a fascinating run to the end of the season for the Western Conference, because in the East we got a lot of things solved. Outside the Metro is going to be competitive.
They'd have to plummet to miss the playoffs at this point.
Yeah, for sure.
I have one last thing before we're going to do the press conference. Guys, people are very upset about this one thing. And usually if you're chronically on the internet?
Chronically online.
Chronically online. Yeah. There are some takes that are like, it takes you a while to go, oh no, that doesn't work in real life, right?
Okay.
Chronically online takes are on, obviously, it's like, wow, we're in our different world now.
Yeah. That is
And I want to know
touch grass situation.
if this is a chronically online take. This is an author. She is 36 years old. Her name, I have her last name, I have her first name. She claims that Humpty Dumpty isn't an egg.
I've heard this before.
Have you heard this?
And nowhere in the song/story do they say that Humpty Dumpty is an egg.
Her name is Holly Byrne, and she said, "Who decided Humpty Dumpty was an egg?"
Yeah.
It's not the lyrics, and deciding he's a giant egg is quite a random leap for someone to make, especially when being like, "Yeah, a giant egg on a wall. Of course that makes sense." Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall, and all the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again. Do you feel like Humpty Dumpty was an egg? That's all I want to know.
No. There's no evidence at all that Humpty Dumpty is an egg.
So do you feel like Humpty Dumpty was a what then, Jesse?
Humpty Dumpty is whatever you want Humpty Dumpty to be.
There you go. Humpty Dumpty was an egg because it doesn't matter if he wasn't.
Whatever you picture in your mind as that thing on the wall, that is what it is.
Humpty Dumpty was a giraffe.
No.
It doesn't. What?
No, it needs to be able to crack, right? That's a part of the story, right? He falls off or something.
Yeah.
Humpty Dumpty was a turtle.
and she follows it up. Holly Byrne also follows it up and says, imagine having no army because they're fixing a broken egg. Like the king set literally everyone to save a giant egg who isn't actually an egg, leaving the realm wide open for attack. It's a good point.
This feels like she's trying out material on us.
I think it is. But you know what? I like it. I don't mind it. Now, I want to ask you this. So the Humpty Dumpty first appeared in 1797 as a part of a book called Juvenile Amusements by a man named Samuel Arnold.
Ugh.
The character first appeared as an egg 100 years later in 1871. So is Humpty Dumpty an egg, Steve Dangle?
So, okay. This is in Britain?
Well, it's a British nursery rhyme, but it's made its way around the world.
So I have a theory for why Humpty Dumpty is an egg.
Okay.
And this is just my own observation from looking at historical art. And that is the British can't draw.
What do you mean?
Dude, you look at like ancient Greek stuff and ancient Roman stuff and ancient Egyptian stuff and like ancient Chinese stuff. And then you look at ancient British stuff. And I can tell you who the worst artists were.
Slightly rudimentary.
The Brits. And right now you're listening to this and you're like, hey, I'm British and I can draw. Yeah, your ancestors couldn't.
So you're saying that Humpty Dumpty's easy to draw, therefore he is an egg.
Half of my ancestors could draw. Those are the Italians.
Yeah, good with
Half
art.
of my ancestors couldn't. That was the British.
Okay.
They could not draw.
All right.
And they're like, you know what? I think they tried 12 different versions of Humpty Dumpty before they landed on, fuck it, he's an egg. And it even kind of fits because he falls down and he breaks. And you can't put an egg back together once you break it. You know what? I'm smart. This isn't because I can't draw. It's because I'm deep.
Now, the apparent reference is of Humpty Dumpty. The original reference is for King Richard III of England. Mm-hmm. His horse's name was Wall. And he was apparently killed in battle. So he fell off his horse. And when you fell in battle back then, you couldn't get back up. If you fell over with some of that armor, most of the time you couldn't even stand back up.
What? Why did they call him Humpty Dumpty?
I haven't the
He was
slightest clue.
he was a plump man.
Was he portly?
Yeah, maybe
he
that's
was
what
plump.
it was.
Yeah.
Just medieval fat shaming the guy.
Yeah. If they had Twitter back then,
He fell off a horse. Imagine falling down and someone writes a diss track about you. That's
That
so
lasts
shit.
for 300 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's rough.
Oh shit.
That's like back to back if, we're still listening to it in 300 years. Crazy. Anyway, I just thought I'd ask that question before we get.
do you know what happened to Richard III's body?
No.
They found it in a parking lot in 2012 in
That's
Leicester.
the guy?
Yeah.
No way.
You didn't know about the story?
No.
Oh yeah, because okay, so
How do they know it's him?
I
I guess he must have been buried with an insignia or something like that. There must have been something that.
Hold on.
I bet the king's armor is better than everybody else's.
And all they found in the sarcophagus, whatever, is eggshells. He was an egg. He was the first ever egg.
First egg king.
Egg
So
king.
they traced back because they thought the church where he was buried was like destroyed and everything. So they traced back the society who was doing the digging. They found out, okay, it's probably going to be in this location here. And then they start digging in this parking lot, and they're like, "Oh, we found this body. It's actually here."
I'd be like,
So,
if
yeah.
I owned that parking lot, I'd be like, so is that mine?
Probably.
Do I own that? Do I have to donate that to the British Museum, or will they just come take it like they do with everything else?
Yeah.
Oh, and they did. So, at a 21st century look at the 15th century remains confirmed via DNA tests.
Get out!
That they were
How
in
do they have
fact
DNA?
those of Richard III.
How do you have DNA off something from the 15th century?
That's cool.
Nuts.
How do you think someone's an egg for 300 years?
Two.
I don't know.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
God, the Brits are silly.
Yeah.
And go type in Richard III.
Mhm. King Richard III.
Look up Richard III art. I bet it all sucks
What do you mean?
because the Brits can't draw.
Oh,
The ancient English cannot draw. And they're not even around to defend themselves.
There's like AI renderings of it.
Look at that shitty. Yeah, no, that's
No,
AI.
you want this.
Look at that piece of shit. That stinks. That's an elementary school drawing.
Adam, what do you think?
You stink. Look at that. No one looks like that. They all
Well-
look like Lord Farquaad.
like that would be enough, I think, to get you into an art school this year. Like if you're
This
coming
year?
if you're coming out of high school and you
In
put that
2023?
as a part of your profile, yeah,
Oh, go to jail.
No.
Absolutely not.
I think so.
The ancient Brits couldn't
Maybe.
draw.
I
Like
don't
maybe
know.
not the best art school, but just an art school.
Now go look up like ancient Spartan shit.
Well, or Minoan. Like really
Yeah.
go back really far pre-ancient Greece. They had some amazing stuff.
Aren't some of like the greatest artists of all time English? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, but most of them couldn't draw.
What are you? I don't.
Look up ancient English art.
What are we talking about?
They all draw
it's like stick
idiots.
fit. It is bad. It is bad.
It's bad.
I don't
Actually,
know. I don't know.
It's kind of funny when you follow like Roman art, which was a direct ripoff of Greek art, right? They just took everything the Greeks had and they're like, this is our culture now. And then it goes into the Byzantine one. So they go, it kind of goes up. It's like, wow, that's great. And they're making all these marble busts of guys. And then all of a sudden in the 5th century, when one half of Rome falls and the other side's still there, the side that's like in Turkey and Anatolia and that sort of thing, they are, it's like them, but their nose is like over here and they can't, you've seen those pictures, right? Of Justinian, where he's like, and he said, it's
That's
just
why.
shit.
That's
It's
why.
total shit.
That's why the English screwed up the Sphinx. They're like, that art's too good. And they shut off.
I think
the
that
nose.
was the French. That was
Oh, it was the French?
when
Yeah, it was
Napoleon
the
invaded
English.
Egypt.
Let's
By the
be
way, that
honest.
story's not true.
It's not.
No.
Well,
Napoleon would never have let his soldiers fire.
That's
at
impossible. I
anything
said
in
it
ancient
into a
Egypt.
microphone.
Okay, fair
That's
enough.
impossible.
Should we do the press conference?
Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Hey, if you think you know which way it's going to go, make your bet at Sports Interaction. Whether it's hockey or it's basketball or, of course, the Super Bowl coming up real soon, get in all the action at Sports Interaction. Bet pregame, live and play, or on one of the many prop bets. Sports Interaction makes it easy to play, easy to cash out, and easy to deposit. Of course, join now to see all that sports betting has to offer. If you want to bet, head to sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. That's sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. 19 plus, please play responsibly.
The Presser. SDP. The Steve Dangle Press Conference.
I'm just saying the Eastern Island heads are really cool, and Stonehenge is a pile of rocks. That's all I'm saying.
First question, Steve, what other misinformation would you like to spread?
Oh, I like that.
That Australia used to be called Botany Bay. That one's my favorite. To go back to. The Leafs won the 93 Cup.
Your junior career.
And Adam Wilde does not have a juicy ass.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Discord's updating. I can't pull up a question.
Should I tell more lies?
Yeah. No. Tell us about
Jesse Short,
the Memorial Cup run.
the ancient Brits can draw.
What year was that? 2009?
When I went to the dance.
Yep.
You went to the dance?
Yeah.
Let's tell me about the dance.
So when I was in the 2006 Memorial Cup.
Is that would that have been one of your years?
Yeah, it was my last year.
Oh, okay.
It was my last go.
Yeah.
Before I tore my pec CL knee in my pec. I went to the Memorial Cup with the Plymouth Whalers, and this was before we got Segsy on the team. We went there, and we won. We beat the Chicoutimi Segs.
Oh my God, this is bad.
That team.
Can you please load this?
No, I'm letting him go. Yeah, it's all done.
Jesus.
I have a question. I was just letting you go.
You're like, Steve, make up a fake reality on the spot immediately.
By
And
the
you
way,
expect it to be good every time?
Australia, after the indigenous people, obviously. You say, Australia used to be named Botany Bay. What was it named before that? By the Europeans.
New Europe.
No. Close though.
Yeah.
Because the Dutch were the first to get to the first Europeans to find it.
New
Netherlands.
Dutch.
New Hollands.
New Holland.
Yeah.
That was a really good guess.
New Europe.
Was that just out of nowhere?
That was out of nowhere.
That's really good.
It was good. It was good.
No, good. You got a big brain on Brad. All right. This is from Freeds on our Discord, sdpn.ca. What's wrong?
Just call the episode The Ancient Brits Can't Draw.
Steve's losing it. All right. Before we go here, this is from Freeds on our Discord. Go to sdpn.ca to join us on Discord. Hit that link. They say, are you guys proud of the LA Kings? You spread more misinformation earlier for finally not having a negative goal differential.
Wow!
They have surpassed the threshold of 0 and are now into the positives of goal differential.
Oh, yeah, because they whooped the Oilers.
Yeah.
And who else? The Ducks?
Yeah. The Ducks? I'm pretty sure I forgot. Adam, what's so funny?
I'm just thinking about Steve. The ancients Brits can't draw.
Yeah. If you ask the ancient Brits to draw...
What a dunk. That's hilarious.
If you ask the ancient Brits to draw Enzi Kopitar, it'd be like a squiggly line.
I think
eyes are on different parts of the
to
head.
answer the question, yes, we're proud of the Kings. Good for them. And you know what? I think they must be. They must feel great that situation lasted too long. The shitty goaltending, right? And you're right. Phoenix Copley, what a great story. And most of that negative goal differential was them climbing out of that horrendous start they had. Yeah. Terrible goaltending.
And we talked about it when they originally sent Cal Peterson down and Jonathan Quick was playing abysmally. We're like, okay, so what's the answer here? They have Phoenix Copley in the minors who's 30 and doesn't have a track record of showing he can do this.
We were like, oh no, everything's going to be awful.
And then he immediately got called up and did it.
Yeah.
Unreal. So based off of that, Freeds writes, there's a lot of E's in the middle of the name, Stump the Steve.
Oh.
What is the lowest regular season goal differential for a team that won the Stanley Cup since 1967 expansion? And then B, since the 04-05 lockout. So let's start since the 04-05 lockout. What's the guess?
04-05 lockout.
Yeah, that's where we're going. What do you think? Who had the
Anaheim
lowest?
Ducks, I'm going to guess.
In what year?
Well, the year they won.
The year they won was 2007.
Yeah, that's post.
We're asking.
Were you asking pre 04-05 or post?
No, we're going post, since.
Yeah, so since 04-05, Anaheim Ducks.
Yeah. And what do you think the number is? What do you think their goal differential was?
Plus 15.
Okay.
This is a team that was like, we need 6 knuckle draggers on the the bottom 6. Like when you talk about I read the book with Burke, and he talked about, he's like, yeah, Travis Moen. And like guys like that, I'm like, Travis Moen never had like more than 20
Did
points.
you just call them knuckle draggers?
Yeah, they are. Just big.
I don't even
Just
think
rock 'em,
Moen was
sock 'em
that
robots. You're gonna play against Pronger and Niedermeyer and Rob Niedermeyer up front and just rock 'em, sock 'em robots.
big. That third line.
That's all it is.
Yeah, you know what? They had Teemu Solani,
Yeah.
Rob Niedermeyer, Scott Niedermeyer and Chris Pronger, but we need to talk for 2 months straight about Rob Niedermeyer, the second best Niedermeyer on the team.
Yeah.
Sammy Paulson and Travis Moen.
Oh!
We need to spend 2 months
Sammy Paulson.
talking about nothing but, dude, I wanted
Defensive
Sammy
specialist.
Paulson on the Leafs so bad.
Yes.
After the Ducks won that cup.
Yeah.
I'm going to say the 2006 Carolina Hurricanes.
Oh,
Because
good.
they were not good, made a bunch of acquisitions, and won.
And then we're good.
What's your guess with the number?
Oh, negative 8.
Negative. No. It
Oh,
wasn't.
no?
No,
Nobody
it's a
won a
plus.
Stanley Cup with a negative goal differential.
Oh.
What's your-
Okay, fine, 8.
Plus
Also,
eight?
let me say this honorable mention to the 2012 Kings, who I think might be the team.
Oh,
I know.
that's the answer.
Correct answer is nothing you guys said. The Washington Capitals of 17-18
No way!
were only plus 18. And that is the
That's
post 04-05 lockout.
Pretty good.
Did they have goaltending problems going into the first round that year?
Yes, because Grubauer was
Got hurt?
he was their starter. Because Braden Holtby stunk.
Yeah.
He wasn't good,
And then he took
the
his
playoffs
flat Brent
started.
Happ and he was like, fucking taking your head off.
Dude, he just decided, I don't feel like allowing goals anymore.
Ah, yeah.
Now,
What a run. That was a great run.
who has the goal differential record since 1967?
I'm going to
A
say
positive? Goal
Like the
differential?
lowest-
They are yes.
No,
they are.
Like, I mean, like the
No.
what's the record specifically?
I'm asking the same question except since 1967. So, which Stanley Cup winner has the lowest regular season goal differential?
it's going to be the New Jersey Devils, and it's just a question of which year. New Jersey Devils, right around the millennium century turnaround thing, whatever you want to call it, turn of the century. What I'm looking for. And it's going to be, what, did they win in 02?
They won in 95.
Yeah, but they weren't, that wasn't dead puck era yet. People were still scoring 100 points. I'm talking 99 to about 2003, where nobody could score anything at all.
The 99 Stars?
I'm telling you, it has to be the Devils. It must be the Devils.
You can each have a guess. Guess.
I can't remember which year they won the cup.
Oh,
They won in 03.
Okay.
They won in
01?
95. No, 01 was the Avs.
Who was 2000?
I think 2000 was the Devils and 99 was the Stars.
The Devils have cups in 2000 and 2003
Okay.
and 94 95.
I'm going to say the height of the dead puck era, 2000. I'm going to say the New Jersey Devils. 2000.
And what do you think their goal differential was?
Well, if the one that Steve was mentioning was like a plus 18,
Plus 18, yeah, the Caps have the
Caps.
modern day record.
I think
guess.
Adam's right.
I think plus 20 max. Like
Plus
Bobby Holik was your top scorer at 60 points.
I think Adam's right.
What's your guess?
And I think
with
he's
the
a
number?
noted client too. Let me
Oh.
throw that out there.
Plus 15.
First of all, you nailed that. Plus 15 is correct.
No way!
That's unreal. Second,
Wow.
it's going to be so funny listening back to this because Adam, you nailed the team, and you did not let Steve convince
Take it.
you that it was 94-95.
Oh,
It is the New Jersey Devils plus
done,
15.
Steven. That was all you.
94-95.
damn.
They have the record for lowest regular season goal differential winning the Stanley Cup. Plus 15.
I don't know.
94-95.
That's like, you talk about the moment. I know why. There was only half a season. 94-95 was a half season.
Was
Okay.
they played more than 41. Didn't they get to like 60 or something?
They got to 48,
No, it wasn't 60.
48 games. 48 games.
Yeah, because Lindros won the Hart with like 75 points or something, but it's wild because he did it in like 42 or 8
so
games or something like
there
that.
needs to be an asterisk on this number.
100%.
That shouldn't count. So it's
No.
it's 48 games they played in the 95 season.
Yeah, so they should have been like a plus 25.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Hey, Freeds. Hey.
Yo, Freets.
That's a trick question.
You stink.
Yo, Freets.
You're a bum.
That's a trick question.
Still, you
Also-
know what? We should have had it because it was the shortened year. We still should have had. I should have let you have that. I'm sorry. That's my bad.
No, I was just. I wouldn't. I would have picked the 99 stars. So
Right.
I would have been wrong.
Man.
Also, the Kings actually tied with the Caps with plus 18. There you go.
Oh, they did.
So
Wait,
yeah,
the 2012 King.
Yeah, 2012 Kings. They tied. No, you
just
said
said the honorable
you said the
mention.
Ducks, but the honorable mention was correct.
Travis Moen.
Yeah.
The Eric Lindros in 94-95 in 46 games had 29 goals, 41 assists, and 70 points.
It's a shame Scott Stevens' career or Scott Stevens' shoulder ended so many great careers.
Oh,
Like
I
change
know.
it forever. Like if
I
you
know.
could just subtract Scott Stevens from the game, you would have had a lot more scoring in that era. But he went out to literally physically kill everyone.
Yes, Paul Correa too.
That's what I mean. I know it wasn't just Eric. It was Paul. There's some other guys there too.
Yeah. Listen, if you're a Brit, practice your art. All right.
The Steve Dangle Podcast.
Powered by Sports Interaction, Canada's sportsbook.
Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Connection complete.